Hi guys, welcome back. In today's video, I wanted to share some simple tips on choosing between whose, W-H-O-S-E, versus whose with the apostrophe S. We'll begin with the basic review, and then we'll go over the tips, and then we'll have a short practice quiz to confirm what we go over today. And in the description box below, I'll have the timestamps so that if you want to skip around to different sections, you can definitely do so. Whose and whose are homonyms. Homonyms are words that are pronounced or spoken exactly the same but have different meanings. Some examples I put here are sun, sun, meat, meat, hair, hair, and we have so many other homonyms in English. And even though we have so many homonyms, the ones that are the most commonly confused are whose and whose. So hopefully this video will help you to differentiate between the two when you are writing. Let's start on the left, whose, W-H-O apostrophe S. This is a contraction or a shortened version of who is or who has. On the right, W-H-O-S-E, every time you use this spelling, it's going to show some sort of belonging or possession. Here are some examples of whose with the apostrophe S. Number 1, who's coming to the meeting today? Number 2, is there anyone who's been to India? Number 3, I know someone who's also taking this class. Something you can do to make sure that you've used the correct whose is separating the contracted words. So separate whose into who is or who has. Number 1 says, who's coming to the meeting today? If I undo the contraction, it becomes who is coming to the meeting today, and that makes perfect sense. Number 2 says, is there anyone who's been to India? Here, this is a contraction for, is there anyone who has been to India? And again, this is correct. Number 3 says, I know someone who's also taking this class. If I say, I know someone who is also taking this class, it makes perfect sense. So if you're not sure if you've used the correct whose, just undo the contraction and see if your sentence still makes sense. Whose with an O-S-E shows belonging or possession. For example, number 1 says, whose writing is neater? Number 2 says, whose dog is this? And number 3 says, this is the boy whose bike was stolen. I've had so many students, including non-native speakers of English and American college students, who struggled with differentiating between whose and whose. And if you're struggling right now, you're definitely not alone. And one thing that I think really helped them was inserting or just sticking in another possessive word. Often they're possessive adjectives like my or their, or it can just be any possessive word like John's. For example, number 1 says, whose writing is neater? If I say my writing, it makes perfect sense, which means you should use the O-S-E possessive whose. Number 2 says, whose dog is this? If you say that's my dog, his dog, it makes sense. The third one says, this is the boy whose bike was stolen. If I say his bike was stolen, it makes perfect sense. So if it makes sense after you've inserted a possessive word, then please use O-S-E whose instead of the apostrophe S. Let's take a few minutes to answer these 7 questions. Please choose between whose apostrophe S or whose with the O-S-E. Please refer back to the tips that we just discussed, and please pause this video for more time. Number 1, who's driving us there? When we say it, everything's correct, right? When we write it, however, it's going to be, whoa, who's driving us there or who is driving us there? Number 2, whose car is big enough? If you're not sure, substitute words like My car is big enough, so it shows possession. It's going to be OSE. Number 3, who's driven a truck before? Here, it's going to be a contraction, that's a W, for who has. Who has driven a truck before? So it's going to be apostrophe S. Number 4, international students whose tuition is high work very hard. It's going to show possession, because if I substitute a possessive adjective, like their tuition is high, it makes sense, right? So it's going to be OSE showing possession. Number 5, the professor whose class is online does not meet students in person. Who's, again, showing possession, his class is online or her class is online, right? So it's going to be OSE. Number 6, this is John, who's my partner for the project. Apostrophe S, who is, right? This is John, who is my partner for the project. Number 7, I met a man who, apostrophe S, who has never tried sushi. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And please leave any comments or question you may have in the comments down below. I hope to see you guys next time.